have this year 127 countries taking part with close to 15,581 participants worldwide during this 24-hour relay race. And we are part of it. It is seen that often women are being marginalized when it comes to sports participation in the disability sector also. This should not be the case anymore. We need to create awareness and advocate for this so that all women are able to participate without fear and judgment. This global relay event today will provide an excellent platform for advocating to the international community here also for increased investment in sports and, more importantly, pay a special emphasis on inclusivity to all. The key messages of the relay around the world this year are: let's open wide to the games. The whole world is getting ready, including Fiji, for the Paris 2024 Games. And thanks to the embassies like French Embassy in Fiji, Terre De Jeux, 2024, the games, length of games, the games live on all 5 continents. So let's all of us take part now in the Paris 2024 Games. France has always taken a positive step when it came to inclusivity for its athletes and their participation. And I would like to highlight that the Paris 2024 Games will be the first gender-equal Olympic Games in history, setting a precedent for other games to come in the future. Today's event saw many para-athletes take part. It was great to see. Before I conclude, I want to take this opportunity to thank especially members from FASANOC for their timely assistance in providing logistical support and friendly support for the race. Representative from ONOC, obviously, Jacques Hiloff, our partners from Sport Matters, CEO for Sport Matters, Lucy Selinkula, Fred Fatiaki is not with us today, but Shenaz Vos is here with us for the Paralympic Committee, and Mrs. Vanessa Kidner for their contribution towards the race today. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I wish the very best for our teams around the globe in their respective countries for their races, and I welcome you all to share the essence of Paris 2024 as we prepare for the last stretch before the game in France.
Unity and empowerment through sports, particularly as we mark the occasion of the Global Paralympics Race, Women and Unity in Sports. We would like to extend our gratitude to the French Embassy in Fiji for hosting this remarkable event, which exemplifies the power of sports to transcend barriers and bring people together. And that's quite evident today. I was part of the race last year, and I think we've doubled the numbers. The Paris 2024 represents a historic milestone in the Olympic movement, as the ambassador mentioned earlier, as it will be the first Olympic Games in history with full gender parity on the field of play, making it the biggest gender-equal sporting event ever. This achievement underscores the importance of promoting parity and inclusion in sports, particularly by highlighting the contributions of women and para-athletes. And I'm grateful that the ambassador mentioned our Fiji representatives. Can we acknowledge them as well in para-competition? Let us reflect on this historic significance of Paris hosting the Olympic Games for the 3rd time in history, joining the esteemed ranks of London as the only other city to achieve this remarkable feat. Paris stands as a beacon of sporting excellence and cultural heritage. From the iconic venues of the 1900s to the 1924 Games to the modern infrastructure of Paris 2024, the city continues to captivate the world with its timeless charm and unparalleled hospitality.
It's a good day to be out there. It's a good day to celebrate. It's a good day to celebrate life. It's a good day to feel included. And I think that's one of the key that we have today. We only have 134 days to go before we're actually in Paris and celebrating the achievements of the athletes that have made it there. The Olympic family has 3 key values. And the values that we celebrate is excellence, respect, and friendship. And we use these values to promote sport, culture, and education for a better world. Sport, culture, and education. But also equally important are the values that are celebrated by the Paralympic Committee of determination, equality, inspiration, and courage. And for me, today's event brings all of those values together under one umbrella. And for that, I think that's a celebration. Congratulations for coming together. Vinaka Vakalevu. But it's also too important, the word inclusion is not only about para and able. It's what do we do? How do we include everybody? How do we do it for programs? How do we do it between organizations? How do we actually become one? And this is the key, I think, that we need to take away from events like this where we do become one. How do we take it forward? Empowering women athletes. I think this is amazing that we have to go out and find them because the talent is there, but to recognize the challenges that they face, to train every day, to get to training, to be able to be assisted, to get to training and competitions. We need to recognize, we need to be able to put our hands up and say, you know what, I can help. That's what today is about. And global unity, the speakers before me have talked about all of these themes. But for me, it's about the promotion and the celebration and just standing back and say, how can I help? All I need to do is help. It's not somebody else's job, but truly, how can I help? So for me today, the fact that we're all here, thank you so much. Again, Mr. Ambassador, we can only do this, and I celebrate this on our road to Paris. And talking about Paris, we've as a country, as Fiji, we have a lot to celebrate. We've had two particular sports that have qualified on merit, that have qualified outright. We have the men's rugby team, we've got the women's rugby team, and we have a male and female sailor, Sophia and Vili, who have qualified to participate in the Olympics.
Sport Matters, as an NGO, has had the pleasure of partnering with the French Embassy in the lead up to the Paris 2024 Games with a local program here in Fiji called Invisible to Included, with the goal of bringing sport to people who have maybe had limited access to this in their communities. We focus particularly on areas just outside of Suva, with Rewa and Naitasiri and Tailevu. And I'm really pleased to share that we've got some of the participants from that program joining us today for the activities and leading some of the activity stations. They've travelled by boat, by bus, had very early morning starts. We use sport as a tool for many things, and we've recognised already that values is so important to the way that sport can make a difference to development. And celebrating the Olympic values and the Paralympic values, and Noki has mentioned these words as well. So I don't want to repeat the things that have been said before, but the value of inclusion is something I wanted to pick up on. And at the community level, we come across social exclusion. And many people living with disability that haven't had access to the joy of movement and the experience of participating in physical activity and sports with friends and family. For some, many have experienced amputations, and this is something we particularly focused on in the Invisible to Included program, which we know that there's rising incidence of particularly lower limb amputations in Fiji. And there are many people that once they have their a limb amputated and they go home to their house, some haven't left for not only months but years. One participant in our first program had left his village for the first time in 11 years. So we say these words social inclusion so many times without really understanding and unpacking that experience of exclusion. I really wanted to highlight that today. While we feel that joy of togetherness and connectedness, we need to remember what it means on the other side of that. There are so many people waiting to be found, waiting to have the opportunity to play, to be physically active with their friends, with their families, with their siblings. And it's the obligation of sport under the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities to remove these barriers and to actively recruit to ensure that everyone has equal access to that fundamental right to sports. So with this in mind, I really celebrate the national federations that have joined us today. Colleagues from Fasanok who are here. We have the Smash Down Barriers program joining us, delivering some inclusive table tennis activities, and the Fiji Paralympic Committee delivering activity stations outside as well. We've also embedded traditional sports and games in our approach to inclusive activities at the community level. So you'll notice we're not using the lawn bowls green today due to the very, very bad weather in the last days. But we've also been adapting games and modifying things so that anyone can have a try at the very, very beginner level, recognizing that everyone may be on the road to go to a Paralympic Games in their lifetime. So today you'll get a chance to try lawn bowls with lemon, with molly, and aiming at coconuts. We've got some adapted activities that everyone can try and enjoy. And these are things that can be done in every community with very little expense. And it's all about breaking down those barriers and making it possible for everyone to celebrate and enjoy sports.
I wanted to say that Fiji Paralympic Committee is a very small body with very little resources. However, we have some powerhouse athletes in that space that we've got, and we will continue to support them. And I wanted to take this opportunity to thank all the volunteers that work with us, because without them, we will not be able to do what we're doing today. Selena, I think, has been with us for less than a year, and within the first 6 months of her being with the FPC, she actually got a medal at the last games that she went to. So that, in a very short period of time, I think is a huge achievement. I was telling some people that I work with about an incredible story that happened on International Women's Day this year. We finally got the approval to get one of our very young Taekwondo athletes incorporated into FPC, and also the opportunity to possibly take part in the next Olympics in Paris. And we are very, very proud. So with that, I wanted to say, yes, we do have a small group of athletes, but it's growing, and I'm pleased to say that it's growing in numbers for women. So I think that's really exciting for us. Enoke spoke about something that's very dear to us at FPC, and that's about education. I think self-development for our athletes is just as important for the strength and conditioning and all the training that they do.